Let's talk more about what this potential ground incursion would look like, because new video into us tonight shows Hamas have been training for this terror attack on Israel in plain sight weeks before it even happened. You can see some of that video here posted by Hamas specifically, showing this essential replica of Israel's Iron Wall, so-called, a replica of an entire town with the terrorists essentially practicing what that would look like. I want to bring in NBC's Courtney Kube now, who is live for us at the Pentagon. Courtney, talk to us about, when we look at sort of the response now that Israel is preparing after this terror attack. Part of the issue here, we've talked about this a lot on this show, is there's a lot of tunnels in Gaza, right? I mean, that has been a way that Hamas gets around, what they use to hide weapons, people, et cetera. What is the plan of attack on that front? Explain what your sources are saying.
Yeah, so, I mean, as far as we know, there are upwards of hundreds of kilometers of these tunnels, and they're underneath Gaza. So they can move people, as you said, Hallie, they can move equipment and weapons in and out of Gaza. They've been a critical element to Hamas's ability to move weapons and things, and also to maintain some of their anonymity and their ability to hide from the Israelis. So all that being said, they're underneath the city with millions of people overhead. So it presents a real tactical problem for any kind of military who's trying to get after Hamas when they may be in these extensive underground tunnels. Now, the U.S. military and the Pentagon are providing Israel, the IDF specifically, with a number of potential things that could help going after these tunnels. Number one is they have U.S. officials are helping Israel and trying to identify where some Hamas targets may be in these tunnels, a very difficult undertaking. And I should say, the Israelis have pretty exquisite intelligence when it comes to these things. The U.S. is supporting them in what they already have as a pretty strong infrastructure. That being said, the U.S. is also providing them with some munitions that could be used to go after some of these tunnel systems. So we know, for one thing, that the Iron Dome interceptors, we've heard about that. That's taking care of the air, mortars, artillery, and rockets. But underneath in the tunnels, they're also providing them with something called JDAM conversion kits. And what that means is it takes, I know, it's a lot of Pentagonese, right? That's essentially a sort of a kit that you can take a dumb bomb or a bomb that's not guided and turn it into a smart bomb, or a bomb that becomes a precision-guided munition. Now, depending on the kind of munition or the bomb that you add this JDAM conversion kit to, it could have the ability to strike underground in some of these tunnel systems. Now, the big question is, how can Israel do that without killing civilians, and some of these hostages? And the reality is, the officials we talk to say, look, they are taking every effort that they can to try to avoid civilian casualties and hostages, but it's a difficult undertaking, Hallie.
Well, that's exactly the question, Court, that came up as I'm hearing you describe this new reporting from you and our colleague Dan DeLuz. Based on what you're hearing from your sources here, is destroying these tunnels, it is entirely possible, if not just likely, that Hamas is holding hostages, Israeli hostages, in some of these tunnels.
Yeah, not only holding them, and the other big question is, are they using them to move them around and even potentially to move them out of Gaza? That's been another big line of questioning for us. And the reality is U.S. officials just simply don't know if that's the case. But the IDF has been striking at areas that could be targeting some of these tunnel systems, potentially limiting Hamas's ability to move throughout them. So think about it. You know, if you have an underground tunnel and you hit one area and you hit another area, well, you've then blocked the people into that place. It wouldn't be unprecedented for the Israelis to hit some of these tunnels. In the past, Hamas has been able to essentially just dig them back out and continue to use them. The question is if they are relentlessly striking them here, will they really be able to restrict some of Hamas's movement, including with some of those hostages? And that's going to be something that we'll continue to ask questions about and watch for.
As top administration officials have said, that Hamas is using people and has used civilians as human shields, essentially. Courtney Kube, thank you so much for that reporting. I know it's been a lot, and I appreciate that. I want to get back to the region now, because we're just learning that a Reuters journalist has been killed. 2 others hurt in southern Lebanon today. Isam Abdullah was part of a crew putting...
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app, or follow us on social media.